Call of Duty on Game Pass, is it a poison pill? That's the question we're asking in today's video. But before we get into the topic, my name is Chris from Full Battle Jacket. Please do me a great big favor. Click the like button, subscribe if you're new, and leave a comment down below what you thought about today's topic. So for those who have already subscribed, I just want to extend my heartfelt thank you. I appreciate your support. Thank you for enjoying my content. So Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is launching here on October the 25th, and Xbox is hoping that it'll bring with it a huge boost to Game Pass numbers. That remains to be seen. This will, of course, be I believe it is the first Call of Duty to be on Game Pass, unless they've brought over any of the legacy titles. That I'm not sure about. But let's discuss. Taking a look at this article on the website The Gamer, Xbox is reportedly relying on Black Ops 6 to boost Game Pass numbers. We're going to read the article and then we will discuss further. In 2024 has been a rough year for Xbox. It's opened the year with 1,900 job cuts and has just announced 650 more. It also frustrated its community with a deeply unpopular overhaul of Game Pass subscription tiers, now locking the cheaper tier subscribers out of new releases at launch. Now it's been reported that Xbox is hoping that Call of Duty Black Ops 6 will turn its fortunes around. According to Tom Warren from The Verge, the company is banking on Black Ops 6 giving Game Pass subscriber figures a boost, as it becomes the first Call of Duty title to be available on the service at launch. Warren cites multiple sources in the report stating that there had been a long debate at Xbox over whether or not to make Black Ops 6 available through Game Pass. However, we now know that it will be, and this is apparently being done to boost the number of subscribers ahead of the holidays. However, because of the changes made to the Game Pass subscription model, Black Ops 6 availability will depend on which tier you're paying for. Excuse me. Game Pass Ultimate and Game Pass PC subscribers will be able to access everything, whereas console tier will only give you the single-player campaign, since this doesn't let you access online multiplayer. The core tier does give you online access, but you won't be able to access the game with this tier alone. With this in mind, Xbox is likely hoping that more users subscribe to the pricier Game Pass Ultimate tier to play Black Ops 6. It remains to be seen if this gamble pays off. Despite Activision now being owned by Microsoft, it's still compelled to share Call of Duty releases with other platforms. This is the only way for the company to ensure its acquisition of Activision Blizzard, as regulators didn't want Call of Duty to be exclusive to Xbox and PC. To address these concerns, Microsoft signed deals with Sony, Nintendo, and more to ensure that new Call of Duty games are available on other platforms and services. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 launches on October the 25th. So, will it move the needle to boost Game Pass subscription numbers? That's the big question. So here are my thoughts on the matter. Xbox's acquisition of Activision Blizzard is their big gamble. It's their Hail Mary play that they are hoping will bring their vision for Xbox Game Pass to fruition and ultimately save it. And of course, PlayStation continues to outsell the Xbox Series platform 4-1, maybe even 5-1 by some reports. I think in a way, the Activision Blizzard acquisition hurt Xbox more than it helped them. I'm going to get into that. Look, you're never going to convince me that Microsoft considered in their calculus prior to purchasing Activision Blizzard that they knew that they would have to begin selling first-party titles on rival platforms in order to remain profitable, especially so soon after one of the biggest gaming acquisitions, or really one of the biggest acquisitions of all time. We're watching that ripple effect now as the Xbox division is under increased pressure to see a return on that $69 billion investment. So first consider that Microsoft is forced to publish Call of Duty on PlayStation consoles, while Sony and Steam are more than happy to take a 30% rip on every sale of Call of Duty that occurs on their platforms. And despite a dedicated PC following, Call of Duty gets most of its sales from consoles, not PC. And what's more, you need Game Pass Ultimate to access Call of Duty Online, which is $228 a year at $19 a month before taxes and fees, if any are applied, I'm not sure, versus a one-time fee of $70 on the purchase of the game on any other platform. And so the counter argument may be, what about the other benefits of being a Game Pass subscriber, such as access to other day one first party drops in the catalog, as well as other titles already on the service? So for many Call of Duty players, Call of Duty is their game. Like, that is the game that they play. They play Call of Duty, and almost exclusively they'll buy this year's Call of Duty game and they'll play it all year long, and then they'll buy next year's Call of Duty game. So I don't think the game catalog specifically is a major draw for Call of Duty players in particular. What Game Pass needs right now, and what they are currently lacking, is player retention. People sign up for the platform and they don't stick around. They'll sign up for a time, maybe dip in, and then they'll dip out. The only way I can see Game Pass becoming and staying profitable is if they were to charge for a full 12 months, so that investors and the executives at Xbox can more accurately forecast their earnings. That's not something that is going to be very popular, and I'm not suggesting that that's going to be a popular decision to make, charging players for a year on the service as opposed to letting them sign up and drop out at any time. I'm just saying that as of right now, Game Pass has a player retention problem, and it needs to be addressed somehow. Lastly, gamers play where their friends are, which is a problem for Xbox because, in Phil Spencer's own words, they lost the worst generation to lose in the Xbox One and PS4 generation, which was the generation where players began building up their digital libraries. Does Microsoft really believe they'll be able to convince gamers to not just switch over from their chosen platform, but also bring all their friends and convince them to sign up to Game Pass? So why do I claim that Call of Duty on Game Pass is a poison pill? Well, the reason is I don't think Xbox is getting from the acquisition of Call of Duty and Activision Blizzard what they were hoping that they would get out of this acquisition. And by that, I mean, when they originally committed to purchasing the company, I truly do feel that they intended to have Call of Duty, which is, one of the highest selling game franchises in the entire world year over year, as an exclusive or even a semi-exclusive on their platform. I truly believe that was the intent. I don't think that that's what they got. The FTC court battle, in terms of getting this acquisition through, I feel really took the wind out of Xbox's sails and what their ultimate ambitions would have been. Can you imagine Call of Duty even being exclusive on the Xbox console, separate from the PC? Can you imagine a situation where instead of Call of Duty dropping on both PlayStation and Xbox at the same time, Call of Duty being available exclusively on Xbox for the first 30 days, for the first 60 or 90 days? That would have been massive for Xbox. Not to say or to even claim that that was the plan, but I think the idea in Xbox's mind when they made this acquisition was to get exclusive content onto the console. And of course, that didn't happen. Now they're forced to publish their own titles on rival platforms just to remain profitable. And I just want to add one major point that came out of the Federal Trade Commission court case involving the acquisition. And that was, I believe, Bobby Kotick, who was the CEO, the big boss over at Activision Blizzard. At one point, he was called to testify. And when asked why Call of Duty was never on Game Pass, his response was that if they had put Call of Duty on Game Pass, it would have lost them money, which is interesting to think about because that's the very thing that Microsoft is about to do. Activision Blizzard knew, and Bobby Kotick knew, that if you were to give away Call of Duty, that it would be a detriment to their business. So it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out with Microsoft in particular. Xbox has never been a market leader. For a time during the 360 era, they had a lot of innovation with Xbox Live and many of the online features that, frankly, the other consoles really weren't able to match at the time. But even in that generation, Xbox came up short. They were a leader for a time, but they ultimately lost that generation. Xbox has been in the console business since 2002, and they've not won a generation. They need Xbox Game Pass to succeed. At this point, it's a sunk cost fallacy. Look at all the money that they've poured into acquisitions, and they haven't borne fruit. Look at Bethesda. Look at Activision Blizzard. Is Xbox seeing the return on investment that they really expected to have with these acquisitions? And certainly we could point the finger at PlayStation as well. And I'm not defending, the worth of PlayStation's acquisitions this generation at all. It's been pretty horrible on all sides. But that's not the topic of today's video. The topic of today's video is about Xbox's Game Pass and the ability for Call of Duty, one of the #1 selling franchises in the entire world, to boost Game Pass numbers the way Xbox is clearly hoping it will. So that's going to do it for today's video. Do me a huge favor, guys. Please like the video. Help me promote this video to more viewers out there. Also consider subscribing if you're new. Click that bell notification so that you'll know whenever a new video drops. I'm going to be dropping more content here on a regular basis. And sound off down in the comments. Let me know, is Call of Duty enough to boost Game Pass subscription numbers the way Microsoft is hoping? Or could it potentially be a poison pill that is bound to tank Call of Duty sales for Microsoft this season? Sound off in the comments. Tell me how you feel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Goodbye.